Welcome to our second community conversation. I'm Professor Vanessa Toulmin, Chair of the Morecambe Winter Gardens Preservation Trust and a Professor at the University of Sheffield. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Victoria Carter of Lancaster and Morecambe College and Jonathon Best of Northern Silence, where we will be exploring our Young Creative Scheme, future programming of the Winter Gardens and the funding that has achieved this through the CDF funding by DCMS and Arts Council. So welcome to the second Winter Gardens Community Conversations. Next slide, please, Annette. So just to recap for everyone that in 2023, the Winter Gardens was successful with a £3.2 million grant from the government's Cultural Development Fund Round 3, of which 2.8 million came, or 2.78 to be precise, came from the government over a 3-year period, and then 200,000 from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, and then another 200,000 from a mixture of local grant, national grants, fundraising and capital investment from the Winter Gardens Trust. It's split into two parts, capital and revenue. So the capital side is to turn the venue into a 1,600 plus music performance venue with standing at the bottom and seating upstairs. And anyone who knows the Winter Gardens, it's a Grade 2 star listed building. It does need a lot of work on it, but with this grant, we will have invested 4.4 million in the building over the last 3.5 years. So this stage of the development is largely capital. 2-story toilet block, accessibility, new sound and lighting equipment, and of course, obviously, the beautiful restoration of some of our historic features, of which the first part has been complete and we discussed at the last community conversations, including a vision for the new extension. So the wonderful photograph behind me and what we'll be putting on our Winter Gardens website soon is all the restoration phase that we've gone through. So toilet block doesn't sound very exciting, but really what is exciting for us is the young creatives. So next slide, please. So what we're calling it, the project, is the People's Palace. And the People's Palace was the name of the original Winter Gardens, which was sadly demolished in 1982. Our targets is to increase engagement locally by 20%. So with a diverse programme of activities. So last year we had over 50,000 people through the building. This year, our partnerships has been, we started in February with Baylight, where we had 6,700 through over the 3 days, 3 new artistic creations, working with more music and sparkle. We also increased the reach visitor numbers to 80,000 by 2026. And then really, really fantastic 75 vocational skills opportunities for young people by 2025, a partnership with Lancaster and Morecambe College and others. And then we want to increase our cultural events for 80 per annum by 2026 by moving infrastructure barriers. So what that really means on a technical basis is the Winter Gardens has no sound and lighting and AV. So for anyone wanting to use the venue, it's quite a lot of money to put that in. And I really appreciate those programmers such as Johnny, who's brought that every time they've come. So it will give lower the barrier for entry. So local community groups should be able to access it. And though they might be charged a higher fee for the venue, they won't be charged for the equipment. That will be all part of the package. So let's talk about the young creatives. Next slide. So this gives you a kind of overview of who are the programmers and who are we working with. And as a part of this, there will be 4 new posts. And these will be the first paid posts at the Winter Gardens since 1977. I know people have been paid for different parts of the work, but these are official paid posts which will create the opportunity to deliver our ambitious project. Lynette will put in the chat those posts, and we are just gone out to adverts. So if you know people locally or regionally who are interested, the deadline for application is the 29th of April, with interviews between the 8th and the 10th of May. Our local partners include everything from Deco Publique to Vintage to Wayne Hemingway. Programming partners include obviously Northern Silence, Eden, and also relationship with Eden, but also Kendall Calling from the Field. Next slide, please. So these are our young creatives. It's a partnership with Lancaster and Morecambe College. You can go on to the next slide. That was just a nice photo of young people. And what we're looking to do is provide an opportunity, an entry opportunity for young people in the area to be involved in performance and culture. There's been lots of stuff nationally, and I myself know, as somebody from Morecambe, just how difficult it was to become into the creative arts. It was seen that people from certain backgrounds, there was barriers, opportunities, lack of support for performing arts in terms of music, performance, art, culture, design. Universities are closing their courses, and the entry level is becoming more and more restricted. So what we felt personally as well, that how would the next Professor Vanessa from Morecambe come from? How would the next, my niece is a stage manager at the Gaiety Theatre on the Isle of Man. She found the entry level really, really difficult when she was 16, 15 years ago. She won't appreciate me saying her age, but 15 years ago, it was seen as a difficult. So the work of the colleges locally and the work of some of the schools to make sure that people from a wide and diverse backgrounds have access to arts, I see it very importantly to have that practical experience, to have the knowledge and the background is basically one of the most important things. So what we've been showing is that this young creative will offer work experience throughout the project, and that can be anything from art, digital, media, tourism, business, construction. These are all courses the college offer, and the entry level for this is through the college, and that would give the opportunity. So we've got an ambitious program of 75 work placements over the now 2.5 years of the project. And all of the people who are working on the Winter Gardens Capital Project, all of the people involved in the programming have signed up to take these placements. Next slide, please. And we will be supported by the British Association, British Theatre Technicians, and this will be a ABBT bronze level course. This course will be paid for through the grant. So anyone going on the course locally, and again, even if they're not part of the college, that they go through the college and for the kind of recruitment, they will learn health and safety training, electrical fundamentals, ropes, knots and splicing, safe use of access equipment, fundamentals flying. There was a massive gap at the moment for theatre technicians and performance technicians. And in a way, always the pathway shouldn't be through higher education. It should be through practical experience and working within the theatre and performing arts. So it's really important that we can offer this course to young people, and that's extended from the ages to 16 to 25 people. And that is a course that we will work on and have hopefully in the theatre. And the second stage of our capital works is actually putting back in AV sound and lighting and some kind of staging equipment into the theatre. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the events we've had on in the Winter Gardens. So the kind of events we're ranging from is music, which will be programmed locally and also nationally. We've had the Levelers on and we had Hawkwind on. And that taught us very much about the technical infrastructure we need in the building. And in both cases, the production companies bought those quite amazing sound and lighting systems in. We will not be putting anything quite so ambitious as that, but at least we'll have something that will give a spotlight and some sound. The Winter Gardens acoustics are quite formidable, and Johnny, I'm sure, will mention that in his presentation. But what we want to do is look at the balance between high-level acoustic performances, high-level sound and lighting, because the fragility of the ceiling has now been sorted. We've spent £680,000 restoring our historic fibrous plaster ceiling over the last 2 years. And under current legislation, we get checked every year, so we just passed our test. So the modern sound vibrations actually can cause an impact on the plaster. That's all been sorted. So for the first time in many years, well, for the last 2 years, the Winter Gardens ceiling is safe. Not that we can have like a massive rave, but we can actually have a whole range of musical performances now. And that gives us the opportunity to bring bands, performers in, and then create a landing part for the young creatives. Next slide. Again, this is the kind of range of events, some of our partners. So obviously the Morecambe Bay Poetry Festival, there's John Cooper Clarke on stage. And then, and this was another one, which was the Leeds Male Voice Choir. So it gives you a range of things we've already been doing over the last 2 years. And this is more of the kind of things we'd like to program. Next slide. So this is now what the building looks like. That's our entry point. Now, on a physical level, you can come in the building, you can see the beautiful exterior, you can see the interior, and we see our project as a welcoming project, but also it's not just a heritage project, it's something for the future. It's to ensure that young people of Morecambe, who will be the next users of the building, will be the next audiences, but also could have the opportunity to be the next generation of programmers, producers, and use it as an entry point, a landing point for a world and life in the creative arts. Next slide. And these are some of our creative partners and programmers, the Gregson, Northern Silence from the Fieldmore Music, Morecambe Bay, Deco Public. We have far more, but these are just some of the ones, the names who've been associated with the building and have done events in the building. So far, with the exception of Gregson, we were really looking forward to working with them. Next slide. And this is just say, so part of the program we will do 2-week festivals, 1 week in November and one in the following November. And then basically when we reopen the building in March 2026 with all the work done, we hope that we reopen with a program curated by the young people of Morecambe, Lancaster. Welcome, Victoria.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. So I'm Victoria. I'm the Head of Engagement at Lancaster and Morecambe College. We are so excited to be part of this project and to work alongside Vanessa and her team. It's something it's been a discussion that feels like it's been going on for quite a long time, and it's really fabulous that it's actually here. Lancaster and Morecambe College, we've spent a lot of time over the last few years really trying to promote the creative sector to young people from across the district, and we've done a number of events around hidden careers within the creative sector, and this really feeds into that work that we've been doing, which is about trying to raise the aspiration for young people locally to open their eyes up to the range of careers that are available in that sector. And I think, there's an element of it, this sort of long held belief that to have a successful career within this sector, young people need to gravitate towards large cities such as London and Manchester or Bristol or Glasgow. And actually we have this really thriving creative scene ourselves across North Lancashire, which brings with it lots of opportunity. And so even if those young people choose to move away to study, to potentially go to Falmouth or, to other areas, if they're wanting to do a degree or an arts course, that opportunity to then be able to come back here and work and live in this fantastic area is a big thing for us, that aspiration to try and encourage young people to stay, to work and to study in the local area. So for us, this sort of fits in with that idea that we can work alongside the Winter Gardeners, we can offer this fantastic opportunity for these work placements and really open up the eyes of our young people. I mean, it isn't just about those young people who are seeing a natural pathway into the creative sector either. This will give opportunities for students at Lancaster and Morecambe College who are studying maybe, the business management T-level, studying in construction and engineering, in public services, as well as our creative digital media and art and design learners, to access fantastic work experience opportunities. And I think from that point of view, it's just a really great opportunity for us. Through this project, we're going to be able to actually recruit a placement coordinator to work with all of these fantastic agencies and these fantastic arts companies who will be placing these work placements for us. And to really raise those aspirational for young people to work within the creative industries. So, one of the things that we really hope will come out of this is this sort of renewed love of these industries and that opportunity for the young people. And it's about developing those tangible pathways, really. So having those young people being able to go out and work with these agencies, with these businesses and companies in the local area, and to understand that those opportunities are there for them when they leave college, when they want to move into employment, and just seeing all the different opportunities out there for them. So one of the things that we are really excited about, this whole 2 weeks experience for these learners, we've struggled over the years to actually get some of our students into placements. And I think working in collaboration with the young creatives to be able to build those work experience opportunities will be a fantastic opportunity really for these young people. And next week, for example, I'm doing a careers day, tourism, culture and place, and so we're working with year 9 pupils from 5 different schools, and we're working with the Dukes, and we're working with the Grand, and we're working with More Music to do employer encounters with those young people. So knowing that we have this opportunity, that if you come to Lancaster and Morecambe College as a student, you could potentially have this 2-week placement with one of these fantastic businesses. When we're working with the schools and we're talking to year 9, year 10 and year 11 pupils and saying to them, well, we'll do this work with you now. You can come out and you can meet these employers. We'll do these workshops around creative sector careers with you. And then there's the opportunity for you to progress into this if you decide to come to college, or if you want to be part of this Young Creatives project and have some really meaningful work experience out of it. So yeah, I mean, we're really thrilled. We're really excited. I think one of the things that I know Vanessa's been discussing recently, and she mentioned there, which was about that opportunity potentially for young people to be putting on events once the Winter Gardens is opened again. So to be able to, almost like a peer-to-peer event for young people to put on an event for other young people, and to really see the Winter Gardens being a place that young people want to go to. They want to access events there, and they know that they're going to be able to be involved in putting those events on. Is a hugely important thing, I think, in raising that aspiration for our young people. And so that we don't see them all disappear to Manchester and Bristol and Glasgow because they think that's the only way that they can actually make their way in that industry. So like I was saying, alongside the art and design and the creative, we do a specialist media makeup qualification, and we have alumni that are working in television and film all over the country. So, being able to say to young people, there are these opportunities here on your doorstep, it's just fantastic for us. It's really great for us. So we are really excited to be part of this, and we can't wait to get it started.
Thank you. And just to add to that, I'm going to the college in May to kind of give the vision for the young people. I want everyone to understand that the project itself is not just about work placements, but there will be a very practical element. So what we've designed at the moment is possibility of having a week, two or three festivals over the period where there's a week programming, but also the people on the college learn how to put the show on, how to market the show, how to run the event. And they'll be aided by this team of people that we will be recruiting, these 4 people, and the young creative coordinator at the college. So it's really an incredible development. People come into the building and see a wonderful heritage asset, but we want to see it as a living, breathing site for future development. I myself will be thrilled, but will probably slightly alarmed about what is going to be programmed, because I'm getting to the point I'm not with it anymore. But it'll be fantastic to see what the next generation of people want to see in the Winter Gardens. So the audience development is really important. So I've asked Victoria and the college to send around our survey so that the young people actually have an idea of what they want in there. So we're kind of ready. So we've got the infrastructure for that. And we've already had a relationship. 2 years ago, the college came and did some fantastic photographs, and the digital students had Godzilla taking over the building. And that poster's still on the outside of the Winter Gardens, and it's probably the most requested poster for a print that we have. So, and obviously, yeah. So now we've kind of talked about the opportunities for the young people, and we've talked about we will give all information from May, when all the posts are in place, hopefully, of what the entry level and how people can do and the timing. But I would like now to introduce my long-term colleague and friend and fellow silent film aficionado, Johnny Best from Northern Silence. So welcome, Johnny.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you so much. So now how am I organised? Here we go. Northern Silence presents silent film with live musical accompaniment. We work mostly with films from the silent era, from the early 20th century, and for the most part, films from this period, films made before synchronized sound recording was rolled out. would tend to have been accompanied by some kind of live music. If you'd gone to the cinema in 1915 or 1920, you'd probably have heard some live music with whatever was on the screen. And at Northern Silence, we reinvent this relationship between early film and live music. Now, I'll just say a little bit about how we began and what we do, and then I'll move on to saying a little about the young creatives and how we might be able to collaborate there. So Northern Silence started as Yorkshire Silent Film Festival in 2016, and it was essentially a project run from my kitchen table. Today, we are a small group of freelancers motivated by a love of the work we do, and we collaborate with a wide range of organisations and venues, of which Morecambe Winter Gardens is one of our key partners. Although we're very small, we've become the UK's busiest presenter of live music with silent film. We work with theatres, with concert halls and music venues, cinemas, festivals, and volunteer-led community cinemas. We are sort of inherently collaborative. We're always working with a wide range of partners. We also make 2 of our own festivals: the Northern Silent Film Festival every October, which takes place across the north, Lancashire, Yorkshire, up into Tyneside, Lake District. That has its 2nd edition this October, and then a brand new festival that we're about to do in Morecambe for the first time at Winter Gardens, Silence by the Sea, and about which more in a moment. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So we work with music and with film, and most of the music we present is wholly or partly improvised, which means that it's not written down or composed. Musicians that we work with, I'm one of those musicians, we watch the film with the audience and create and perform music simultaneously. So on the spur of the moment, inventing it as we watch the film. It's the most live kind of music making there is. And we run a training program for musicians to learn how to adapt their skills to improvised film accompaniment. We're about to run a series of workshops and classes in May. And we've brought quite a few musicians from Morecambe and Lancaster into that program, and they've been learning how to work with silent film and then performing as part of our program at Winter Gardens. We do also work with composers who write scores, and then we premiere these works at Winter Gardens before touring them around the UK. So our work with Morecambe Winter Gardens began in 2021. I ran a series of improvisation sessions with Off the Rails Creative Jazz Orchestra, which is an improvising band based in Morecambe. About 15 or 16 players. They're really inventive and clever, and they do all kinds of different music. They'd never done a silent film before. And so over 3 sessions, the players learned the basics of scoring a silent film, and then they performed an improvised accompaniment to Nosferatu, the first screen adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And there is Nosferatu. Here's a couple of pictures of the event. The next couple, just to show you what's going on. In the front, you can see the musicians. Let's go back to the previous picture for a sec. Oh, no, there we go. You can see the musicians facing the screen, you see, because they're watching the screen and making up the music as they watch the screen. They did an absolutely wonderful job, and we had about 300 people in for the film, which is great. Okay, next photo. There's a trombone player playing for Nosferatu. So that's that. Since then, we've done a wide variety of different projects. We've done Laurel and Hardy and Buster Keaton. We did a lovely Alfred Hitchcock night showing The Lodger, and the epic Metropolis, which we double billed with Blade Runner. There's our Metropolis poster. Here we are. That's me at the piano hammering away. My colleague Trevor on percussion. Had a lovely time with them. Oh, there's another one. That photo really shows off the beauty of the building and the wonderful atmosphere for live music and film. There, we built a screen. We've just built a new one, a new screen for Winter Gardens, which really works with the scale of the building. So we create really powerful, immersive experiences for audiences. It really is the most wonderful building to work in. Tremendous privilege to be able to work there. So our most ambitious project to date, I think, has been something called Echoes of the North, which is a new film made out of old films. It's a 60-minute film which we made out of archive footage from the early 20th century, so about 1910 and 1935, which was sourced from 4 archives, and which explored life in the north of England. And the composer Neil Brand wrote a brass band score, a 60-minute brass band score, which was performed by Brighouse and Rastrick Band, who you see there in the Winter Gardens. And Echoes premiered at Morecambe Winter Gardens in November 2021, then had a short online release, and then did a short UK tour. And it's going to be remounted next year. Let's go on to the next photo. There we see it again. Another lovely photo of the Winter Gardens looking absolutely splendid. I think there's one more photo of yeah, there we are. That's the final one. So that was Echoes of the North. And that's an example of the kind of new work that we're creating for Winter Gardens, work which has its first showing at Winter Gardens and then goes off into the rest of the country. Now, so this year we are developing our Winter Gardens program, which has been sort of piecemeal, you know, individual shows that we've done, but we're developing it into a new festival, which is called Silence by the Sea. And the first edition takes place over the weekend of June 8th and 9th this year. Oh yes, there we go, there's Charlie Chaplin. Now, it includes the debut of a new orchestra, the Northern Silence Sinfonia, which is a 16-piece orchestra which is being formed especially for Silence by the Sea. It'll make its debut accompanying this Charlie Chaplin film, playing Chaplin's own score. The film's The Kid from 1921, a beautiful, sentimental slapstick comedy, absolutely gorgeous film. And we can't wait to have orchestral music back in the Winter Gardens. And I think we've got there we go, that's the Silence by the Sea poster. So we've got Charlie Chaplin, we've got the first dinosaur epic, The Lost World, the film from which all else followed, King Kong, Jurassic Park. But first of all, 1926, there was a wonderful silent film, dinosaur film, The Lost World. And we're showing Méliès films as well, Trip to the Moon. All kinds of musicians are taking part, Morecambe and Lancaster players. There are also opportunities for everyone to join in making music by joining the community choir, which is going to be taking part in the improvised scoring of some of the Méliès films on the Sunday. So our plan with our dream, our intention with Silence by the Sea over the next few years is to develop it from a weekend into a longer and busier festival, and to build it into an annual event which will attract audiences from around the UK, and which will contribute to the cultural life of Morecambe, the entertainment available in the town, the tourist economy, and the creative life of Winter Gardens. So, and every year there'll be new commissions, events that we create especially for Morecambe Winter Gardens, some of which will go on to be shown elsewhere around the country, but they'll begin in Morecambe. So that's what we've done over the last 2.5 years and where we're going next. Now, let me say a few little bits about the Young Creatives. This is a really exciting moment for the Young Creatives program, and Northern Silence. We're really keen to be involved. We're very pleased to be part of all of this. So, while some in creative industry careers will go into conventional employment, you know, they might be lucky enough to get a job where they turn up for work each day and take a monthly paycheck and do their job. Many, perhaps most, will not. They will instead, like everyone who works with Northern Silence, have some sort of freelance career, whether that's entirely freelance or a blend of employment and freelance working. There's going to be more and more freelance working over the coming years, and it requires a particular blend of skills and attitudes, including the ability to work collaboratively, to develop personal resilience, to be able to market yourself and to spot opportunities and respond to changing opportunities, how the industries are changing as we go into the 21st century. And today, many freelancers don't just wait to be booked, to be engaged. I mean, yes, you wait for the phone to ring, but many freelancers also get out there and create their own opportunities as well. Being a self-starter can be really important. Learning how to begin a project, how to develop an idea from first inkling to something that becomes real, how to find collaborators, raise money, make it, market it, persuade people to come. All of this is a big part of what it is to work in the creative industries today, and it will become more so. Now, Silence by the Sea is one of our opportunities to contribute to young creatives. And young people will be able to experience and learn about festival programming and production, about the presentation of live music, projection and film technology, marketing, PR, touring, event management. And importantly, they'll have a window into what it's like to be a creative freelancer, creative professional. I'd love to see young creatives programming and producing their own events as part of Silence by the Sea. There are all kinds of possibilities, and we at Northern Silence, we're a small team, but we're really enthusiastic and we're open. We're open to everything. The only limit is what we can imagine. So I'll wind up by saying our work with Morecambe Winter Gardens is central to what we're about, playing a small part in the revival of this incredible building. And in this new chapter of Morecambe's life, with the soon-to-be-built Eden project just across the road from the theatre. All of this makes Morecambe an exciting place to be right now, and an exciting place to think about beginning and building a career. There's lots going on in the Northwest. I very much endorse what Victoria was saying just then. This is the right time for the Young Creatives Programme. We're very lucky to be involved. We're excited to be involved. And I can't wait to see where it's going to go over the next few years. Thank you, Vanessa, for inviting me to say a few words today. And I'm looking forward to discussing all of this further. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. That was very inspiring. And just to add, Johnny knows that my background is as a film historian, so I'm looking forward to introducing the people of Morecambe to the wonders of Méliès. Quite an amazing. Everyone knows Trip to the Moon, but some of the other films that he did are equally baffling and bizarre. And would have had a commentator at the time, but I will just introduce that. And just for reference to people, the very first film shows in Morecambe were in the Morecambe Winter Gardens in 1896, and projected in the Winter Gardens with a trapeze artist actually hanging from the ceiling. But I'm not going to let Johnny do that this time.
Oh, please.
No, we still actually have the actual trapeze points in the ceiling of the Winter Gardens, but I don't think we can allow that this time. But yes, so we've kind of finished our presentations. It would be a good opportunity for people to want questions. Also, we'll put more details of, and I'll put in the chat. Perhaps Johnny can put in the chat details of the Northern Silence, so people want to come along and book tickets or spread the words. And also, Victoria, are you happy for your email to be put in the chat, or if people want to contact you about opportunities?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We're still trying to get the programming date. So one of the things that we originally envisaged that we would have a series of programs throughout the summer, but because of the delay in the capital works, which have now started, obviously, we're all kind of full steam ahead. In the next 6 weeks, there'll be new windows, new doors, and you'll be pleased to know of the audience that it will make the Winter Gardens a lot warmer, because 80% of the heat loss is through the back of the building. And the next part is we've just got sent out a tender for sound and lighting. And then in the winter, we'll be looking at reinforcing and putting new bars on the rigging, which gives us an opportunity. What we want to do is work over the summer and to get people involved, including our volunteers, so that in November we will have a week of programming. So we'll have a whole week where the young people have the opportunity to program their own shows or their own events, or to work with programmers, or to choose it. So we'll have a whole week of events that will be free for the people of Morecambe, and also the building will see a wide range of activities. So more details of that will be announced as we work through the schedule. And then the idea is that we do this every year. And then when we reopen the Winter Gardens in March 2026, it will reopen with a programme designed by the young creatives. Any more information, please let us know. So I'd like to open up to questions and ask people what they think, or if there are any questions they want to ask of us, or any films that they'd like Johnny to show. We should say that Neil Brand, who is like the impresario for silent music, is a massive supporter of the Winter Gardens, and it's a great opportunity. And I'm sure we can arrange tickets as well, Victoria, through the scheme for some of the young people to come for June. And that would be a great opportunity, won't it, Johnny, to show them the magic of the silent film.
Yep, indeed, absolutely, absolutely. I think that there, as we continue working, there are opportunities for young people to perform as well as musicians. So there's all kinds of possibilities. So.
And I've just said that that silent film is very current at the moment. I've just told Johnny that the latest Taylor Swift album finishes with a tribute to Clara Bow, who was the original It Girl. So I think we should bring It Girl to the Winter Garden, shouldn't we?
Yes, indeed. You mentioned the acoustics of the Winter Gardens,
yes.
And it's a beautiful place for live music, especially acoustic music, which of course is what it was built for. And we bring in a lovely Steinway piano, and we have all kinds of musicians performing. And the combination of big screen and live music really suits the building, and it's a very sort of rich and immersive experience. But what I really want to hear, I can't wait to hear the orchestra. I can't wait to hear our new 16-piece orchestra on opening night in that building. It's going to make me very happy.
Well, I hope that they don't have to wear the coats this time.
Yes, yes. We love the Winter Gardens, but it has been a little drafty. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Somebody's asked for more brass band accompaniment, please.
Yes,
maybe the Morecambe brass band.
No, yes, we there will be more brass band, and I've just been contacted by someone from Morecambe brass band, and we are going to have conversations there about what we can do. Brass bands will be back depending on when we're back in the building. The second Silence by the Sea festival, brass bands will be part of that. We're bringing Laurel and Hardy and brass bands together for the second Silence by the Sea, but that's to come in a year or so, maybe a little longer, but definitely. I think the opportunity for young people to make their own festival, to come up with their own ideas and learn and experience how to take ideas and turn them into events is going to be a really valuable process. And to be able to do it on such a scale within this building, that's a very rare, I think, experience, a very rare sort of opportunity. I can't think of other opportunities quite like it. So I think
we're doing this careers event next week, and one of the workshops that we're delivering is about event planning, but they're going to be doing it sitting in a classroom. And that's the difference, isn't it? The difference between sitting in a classroom doing it as a sort of I don't know, like a role-playing thing, and actually doing it is huge. And that's, I think, the energy around this, we're all really excited about it here. I mean, Johnny and I had a chat with John yesterday, our visual and creative program manager, and some of the things that we were talking about, it's just going to be phenomenal, isn't it? And to give that opportunity to those young people. And like I said in my discussion, for us, it's around that raising the aspiration for those young people to see a real opportunity for them within that sector, and within, and to be able to progress proper, real employment opportunities. It's just great.
I think another important part of the programming, which is what I will talk about when I come to the college to do a teaching session, which will be lovely in May, is actually using the history of the building to inform what people can do. So one of the most interesting parts of the building is its kind of history of performance, and not just the kind of standard Laurel and Hardy, which is fantastic, but also artists such as Ivor Novello, who was obviously known for the Ivor Novello Awards, but one of the most important songwriters of the 20th century, wasn't he, Johnny? And his songs are quite amazing.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to kind of, who's going to be the next Ivor Novello for Morecambe? You know, who would be the next generation? I think the other opportunities as well in the architecture side, you know, the bricks and the mortar. The most important thing about event planning is not glamorous. It is toilets and toilets and backstage and production. So on the event, on the night, it looks seamless. So on the week, it looks seamless. But anyone who knows about event planning knows that the more seamless it looks, the more work's been involved. It's like, you know, pedaling underwater to be like a swan, but on the actual day itself. So I think the practical realities of being and doing an event is far more useful for future employment than somebody who knows how to write a perfect risk assessment.
Yeah.
You would agree, Johnny, wouldn't
I
you?
think that's very much true, because the planning, and first of all you come up with an idea. You have a personal private idea, and then you start sharing it with others, and it starts to develop, and the gray areas start to fill in. It starts to change as people say things to you in response, and then you start planning it in detail. You start budgeting it, planning the things you'll need, how it will work, and then gathering your collaborators, and it widens and widens and widens and changes. And then when you get to the day when you start making it there and then in the building, then you're dealing not with ideas and plans, but with the physical reality of what is happening there and then. And that's when you have to start sometimes improvising and adapting, changing, responding to things you didn't expect, learning from those things you didn't expect, and that process from something very, very private and personal to something very public, which you sort of have in a way sort of less and less control over as it grows and grows. That process is incredibly exciting. It can be difficult, but it's the essence of what we do, and it's the essence of what creative professionals do when they're making things. That's the experience.
And I think that's why I wanted to bring in the British Association of Theatre Technicians to give actually a real practical possibility of a diploma. Obviously, some aspects of the training might not be able to take place in the building because we haven't got all the hanging and systems, but we're going to be talking to local and regional theatres to kind of be involved in that. So actually having a diploma as well as being part of the course. And as I said, everything will be paid for by the course. Everything the college are contributing kind of like subsistence as well, and allowance for people attending the placements. So there's no barrier. And we're trying to think of every possible barrier that we want to bring down so that people can attend and be part of it. And also recently talked to schools in the area through the college of ensuring that there isn't a doom and gloom about the creative industries, that it is an amazing, wonderful profession. Like Johnny says, can be a bit scary with freelancers. I spent many years as a freelancer and going backwards and forwards, but you have the opportunity to create your own career, which is also equally exciting. What we just want to do is give people the opportunity in an amazing venue, which is a venue of national importance. You wouldn't be able to do this in the Albert Hall. You wouldn't be able to do this in some of the London theatres, would you, Johnny? You wouldn't
No,
be able to.
no,
So,
no.
but they are. I mean, people from Morecambe and Lancaster go down and do it. I mean, obviously, London theatres do their own outreach. We just think it's really important that we give people a sense of pride, but the possibility. So many people come in the building and tell us that their grandmother or grandfather danced on the stage, appeared on the stage, and also bringing back the amateur dramatics to the Winter Gardens is an important part of what we want to do. So everyone's been very quiet, but I think you're just hopefully overwhelmed by what we're telling you. And if you want to hear more, let us know. And any more questions that you want to ask, I'll open it up again. Well, I hope you find this equally as inspiring as our last talk. And then in May, we'll be talking more with the music side of the building, and hopefully get some of our partners in that area, and also music and performance. And obviously, one of the most exciting things we've also got this year is the Morecambe Bay Poetry Festival. So it'd be great to have Matt and other people to talk about that as well. So I'll give you a 5-second warning. Any more questions? If not, we'll say goodbye. Can you say something about how important the building's heritage is for the performance compared to a modern venue?
Yeah. Well, the building, the Morecambe Winter Gardens itself is as important as to us as the things we do in it. I mean, the invitation to an audience isn't just to come and see a film and hear some music. The invitation is to be is to be within this building, to be part of Morecambe Winter Gardens creative life. It is the building is the inspiration. To the building has inspired what we're trying to do, and it's part of what we are trying to inspire audiences with. You can't separate the building from the event. You know, the the scale of it really matters. The fact that when you walk through the doors, you're struck by not just the sort of the sense of the past and present sort of mingling, that sort of tingly, poetic, beautiful quality the building has, but also the epic, grand sort of scale of it, and that really matters. You know, we're trying to create experiences that will carry audiences away, that will give them the thrill of liveness, of live music, of being an audience in a big theatre, actually being an audience, rather than sitting at home with Netflix, which I do a lot of. But that's what this is about. That's what the Winter Gardens is about. And you know, I contacted Vanessa 3 years ago, because I was inspired by what the volunteers at the Winter Gardens were doing with Vanessa to bring Winter Gardens back to life, and I wanted in on it, and I am very pleased that Northern Silence is here now, because it's a really precious building. It's something remarkable that Morecambe has, something that, as the rest of the country realizes what it is, they'll be looking on enviously, because it really is splendid and special.
I think a question for you, Victoria. Anything you might add in terms of the Winter Gardens and experience for learners? What makes it special and unique, other than the scale? It's a bit daunting, isn't it, to think about that size of the building?
I think, yeah, but I think from our point of view, it is about the place, isn't it? So we do a lot of stuff around place-based learning, and that aspiration for young people to see what's on their doorstep and to open up those opportunities. So it's the very fact that it's here, it's part of our history, you know, it's part of the history of Morecambe, and for those young people to have that opportunity. Like I said before, you know, it's all well and good delivering things in a classroom and getting people to think about the skills that they might need, but to actually be able to be part of the growth of the Winter Gardens, and to actually be able to get young people to engage with this amazing space, that potentially some of them will have never walked through that door before. You know, some of them might never have been in before. Like Vanessa said, they might have family stories about it, but how many of them have actually been into that space? And so to be able to work with this sort of iconic building on the doorstep, but also to give them that opportunity to then put on events in that space and to see that really happen. And you know, I'm sure it's a lot easier in a modern building in some respects, but this is part of our history. You know, I moved to Morecambe in 1980, I think, but was it 1977 when there was the massive flood? So we had some friends here, and my friend was actually working in the Winter Gardens, I think, as an usher, an usherette. On the night of the storm. So, you know, there's all this sort of family history. Everybody has a story about the Winter Gardens, don't they? So that whole thing about you know, you're right, it's unique and it's special, and it's giving our young people that opportunity to step inside there and to be part of the growth of it, really.
I would say that, thank you, Tosh. I would say that the scale of the Winter Gardens can be seen as a barrier for people, but it's
Mm.
actually also a very intimate space. The reason that we can have this kind of different types of seating. So some of the events we've done with Johnny, we've done it cabaret style. So it's not just theatre style. So the flexibility of having not replacing seats on the floor as fixed seats means it's more of a different space. So you can have promenade, you can have walking, and we can also put the orchestra on the floor as well, which you couldn't do. You couldn't fit the size and scale of Johnny's ambitions in a modern theatre in a way, unless you were on the stage, would you? So having that closeness to the audience makes it different. I would like to see Ben Hur on that size of screen, because I think
That's
It's
coming.
cinematic. That's coming.
We'll do it soon.
Yeah, we'll sort that. We must get Ben here. And I think silent films were epics. You kind of see the close-ups and the comedy and the slapsticks, but some of the silent films were the most expensive films ever made. There is a story about how many of the film lot sets were destroyed when Gone with the Wind, when they actually use real physical sets to show the burning of the buildings in the Gone with the Wind. And you can't watch that film without thinking of silent film history being thrown up. But I think having a members only cinema events, I think, well, there is ones locally, isn't there? So we didn't really want to take over other local events. But we do looking at cabaret style performances, aren't we, Johnny? For
Yeah, well,
performance.
we've tended to mix Rose and cabaret style so that people can do what they're comfortable with. You can sit in Rose, or you can sit in cabaret seats and tables and order from the cafe and be relaxed. It's a very relaxed place to enjoy entertainment. I mean, and we certainly try and foster that. Eat and drink and
One of the biggest barriers of the Winter Gardens is the actual cost of running the building. So every time we open it, there is a cost of between £300 to £400 just to open the building. So we have to guarantee some kind of audience size to cover the costs for the producers who are taking their own financial risk when they come in. So,
but we couldn't be at the Winter Gardens without the support that we've had from Arts Council England, from Film Hub North, and various other places we get money from. And it's producing in the Winter Gardens is about investing in the future. You have to start the work of building an audience for the kind of thing you want to do, and it takes time, and it's a process, but you have to build.
Yeah, so I think we can get about 250 in cabaret style, so we're looking at that. And when Johnny did Chicago last year, it was a mixture of cabaret and seating, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, one of my dogs.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Nice to see one of your dogs. Hello.
You did win, mister. There we go. Okay. Sorry about
that. But if anyone has thoughts of ideas, please let us know. Just contact us. We're open this weekend. And talking about the next generation, we have 500 cubs coming into the building because the local cubs are parading down Morecambe Promenade for St. George's Day, which is fantastic. And they will then be coming into the Winter Gardens on Sunday to do some of their activities. So, yes, oh my God, indeed. We are looking forward to welcoming all the generations of Morecambe into the Winter Gardens so that if they feel it's their home. I've told them they can't do any of their fire practice in the buildings, but anything else is pretty okay. But not stick rubbing and making fires. So that's not going to happen in the Grade 2 star listed building. So thank you, everyone, and I look forward to welcome you all again can I thank Victoria and Johnny for stepping in to help us get this together, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward, and thank you to my colleagues Lynette and Anna for supporting this. So more exciting things to happen, and we'll talk more about the performance and music, other people who are going to be working with us on that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.